for men and women to return to the Father. I have books that are amazing. I highly recommend you get them. 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job, or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame. Scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They're using them, and blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they will become it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home. That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby. This is my show. Thank you for tuning in on this fine Monday. It is a fine Monday to be back with all of you today, and it's a happy White History Month to you, okay? So appreciate you tuning in. Got a bit of a show for you. You know, they got this whites-only towns are popping up, and they're kind of doing well. They already got buildings up. It's kind of a little funny observation on some of these things, but it is a controversy, and I should have known. I seen this a while ago. I may have caught this like quite a while ago, and I knew this would come up. I didn't mention it. I knew it would become a bit of a controversy. Of course it would. Consider the world we're in. Consider how even today people laugh, scoff, have fear, run away to the notion of a White History Month. And I hope to show some of that to you. Like later on this week, soon, tomorrow, Wednesday, some footage with Jesse Lee Peterson out on the streets. Okay, we got to interview a lot of black people. And there were some white people too, It's a touristy area, so we got like some European whites and foreign whites. So we did our best there, but it is amazing to see today still, well, why be surprised that still, but people angry, to put it simply. You got to be a bit of a hater to say some of the things that we heard out there. And so a little bit of a, I guess, not even a sneak preview, but it's coming, okay? We got some footage for you. It's great. Jesse out on the streets. And so, of course, this would get attention. A whites-only place in America. I mean, they tried doing that in South Africa. And, I guess that has its controversy because it's South Africa. It's Africa. But in America, you have to understand, you have to know that would be a problem, right? Imagine having it's America. You already have a white-only place. It's America. It's white history every day. But what people are saying with that, whether they know it, see, they're saying maybe a number of things. This is not me telling you at the very core what they're saying when they say that. I mean, it's just a general posture. I take it as a general posture against white America, white history, any notion of that. You'll say, well, every day is that. And so that's why we celebrate the other history months. So you understand it's all built on opposition. So, but it also means you can't protect yourself. You can't say obvious things that are wrong. You can't do just general basic things that are afforded to pretty much everybody else. Because in this white America where you have white history every day and you have your own, you already have white police, you already have, right, a white place. It's called America. It seems if you ask white people, it doesn't seem that way. Like, if you just pay attention a little bit, others are, I guess you could say, I don't see it as a problem, but enough of that, okay? We'll get into some of the news and all that. I appreciate you being here. It's the American Anchor Baby, and you could call in 888-775-3773. I should have known, right? But we'll get into it. What else here? Look, there's a number of things to get into, actually. So we'll have a little fun today on a happy Monday. Nice to see everybody. 888-775-3773. Something on your mind, something you want to talk about. You know how it goes. But, of course, my viewers on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. How you doing, everybody? Nice to see you there, too, populating the chat. Talkative and active. Thank you. Appreciate you being a member and all that. And, of course, people on YouTube, don't be rude. Come on. Click the like button. You're sitting there. You enjoy. You're kicking it back. You're doing your thing. Don't be rude. Click the like button and say hello. Say hello. Leave a little comment. You're watching live. Hit it up in the chat. You're watching afterwards. Leave me a little comment. Tell me what you think. Oh, and, of course, look, punchy.tv/Anchor Baby is live, absolutely. So we got that all squared up, and I am happy to say that. So please, let me know what you think. Punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. Now, what else here? Okay, we're live. We're talking to the people. And we'll get to everybody's super chats and everything. And that's it, pretty much. How was your weekend? Confrontational today. People feeling confrontational in the chat. How you doing, Skip? Paint Slanger? Or is it Slanger? My apologies. Is this a white man? Paint Slanger? How you doing, everybody? Everybody in the chat, okay? CSAT, Mark, everybody. Hearts and Minds. Someone remembers the old intro. I don't know. It was just random. We were just shooting things in the old cut of the intro. It was maybe a little too violent. Okay, amazing. So, you knew, like I was telling you, I knew this would happen. Like that this would be controversial. I knew it would hit the news eventually. And it's kind of it's kind of popping off somewhat. I don't know, why. I'm seeing like Benjamin Crump and others giving it some attention, and some people calling it out, saying this is vile, disgusting, a whites only place in America. What's wrong with these people? And then other figures, popular on X, starting to hit millions and millions of views. A number of these posts, but here's just a little taste. They had this Sky News. I believe this is from the Sky News, this extended 30-minute thing, and I just watched a bit of it. Here's like a little clip of it. Give you an idea over there what they're doing out there in the Ozarks, in Arkansas, Dang. A little moment of silence. No, that's enough of that. It's like Arkansas. Inside the whites-only town in Arkansas. You don't let everyone into your home. A little bit of footage. And they'll say some things like they don't let whites and Jews, blacks. And I think Sky News and these publications are saying that they are saying these things. And it's not like on their website, but to just corroborate somewhat, there's this extended 30-minute cut from Sky News, and I think it's in there. You can watch it yourself. That's what the news is saying. I haven't quite seen it myself, right? That's all I'm trying to say. I haven't seen them say it. That being said, I don't deny it at the slightest. Look, the point is, here's the footage. A little bit of what's going on over there. They're pretty open people from what I gather about what they believe, what they're doing. And the movement, I believe it's called Return to the Land. So how about it? Here's a little bit of that. Something I saw.
No blacks.
Okay. Coming in hot. Here we go.
No blacks, no Jews, no gays. High up in the Ozark Hills, in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only. They are millennials and Gen Z, and this is a new update of age-old prejudice.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
It's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if...
you don't let everyone into your home.
Around 40 people live here.
They're being kept out. Well, that's clear to us, right? That's not segregation. That's something else. It's like they want to have their own thing. You could do your thing. We're self-segregating, but not imposing segregation on others. But isn't that where kind of White History Month is every day. Well, you already have a white community. It's called America. And when that world, if I may even paint NBC somewhat there too, when they look at a place like this and they say, well, you're segregated, you're keeping everybody else out. How dare you? Isn't that like isn't that kind of like a mask off moment? It's just not about for that. They're not they're afraid of the discrimination, all that. Well, how about these people who you believe are discriminators? They're wrong. They want to go off and live on their own, right? It shows a vindication or something, whatever, revenge, and a wrong motivation. It's like those people in South Africa. They told those people that were coming over here as refugees. They wanted to something, and they put out a statement, so to speak, and in it was something akin to these people who are refugees in America coming from South Africa are running away from a justice, so to speak. So revenge, these people are leaving South Africa. You got rid of them. Hundreds more. But it's not about that.
From across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labour, the women take care of the children who live here full time. It could be a very loving community.
Your state-mandated wives, sir,
the community, but if you're black, or if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do.
You might be wondering how any of this can be legal. Return to the Land is structured as a private members association, which they believe allows them to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, along with other factors. That has yet to be tested in the courts and may well fail. The Arkansas Attorney General has said his office is now reviewing the matter as a result of our reporting, and that there is no room for racial discrimination in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society.
You know, I tried looking into that a little bit. I don't really know, but what does it take to create a settlement in America? You can basically do it. Now, I don't really know. It changes in the area. You got to deal with all sorts of things. But basically, if you own the land, it's unincorporated or something like that, you can handle everything yourself, okay? You're not getting anything. I think you could. It's something like you're allowed to. It's not easy, basically, is the point, too. It's definitely not easy. And so, you know, they got the governor here involved. We're not going to have any racial discrimination, right? But it comes, I don't know, I'm looking into it a little bit. There's this interesting legal things about it. Like, for example, if you're in an unincorporated settlement, you may not necessarily have to do all that, right? Have these rules of racial you can't discriminate like that because that's y'all's rules, right? We're not using any of your funds or anything. There's places in America that have actually done that somewhat to various degrees. More on all that later. You might find it interesting, but they have like an anarchist city called Slab City. You ever hear that? Slab City? It's kind of interesting. Kind of out here, no? Either in California or Nevada or something like that. Anarchy. But started by a quasi-Christian white man, possibly. I don't know if he's white. More on that later, but if you find it interesting, they made these like Christian sculptures out in the desert. Strange. You know, it's not a nice place, it doesn't seem. There's another one, I think it's black only, Freedom, Georgia. That's getting some resurgence in attention because of this. More on that later, but. So, you know, they are facing it. You know, you heard might be challenging legally, and I don't know. You know, you're hearing from the news here, NBC, that it might be challenging legally and all that. I was reading a little Times of Israel article. Now, where was it? They were kind of laying that out nicely on this article they wrote about white supremacists building whites-only settlement in Arkansas. I don't know if they call themselves that. So, civil rights groups like the NAACP condemned the community, of course. Within the settlement, Sky News saw graded land, laid roads, a boundary fence, cabins, a community center, a schoolhouse, goat herds, wells, multiple wells. Community members preparing shared meals together. But where were they? They were laying out. They were also criticizing some Telegram group. These people are a little loose with their anti-Semitic language. Apparently, I don't know. Oh, yeah, RTTL has a legal status as a private members association. The group claims that its LLC structure exempts it from the Fair Housing Act. Civil rights groups say the arrangement is likely unlawful. So if that tells you something. But anyways, so we got them doing this, and we'll get to calls. Appreciate your calls, 888-775-3773. They're returning to the land. They want to live away from the city. Kind of, again, I say some of these details because when we get to some of the other attempts at this, they also, too, wanted to return to the land, live away from Babylon, the city, and all that. So, you know, there's a number of people attempting it, but you look at them, like you saw, they said laid roads. You saw some of it there, some footage. They have all these buildings. We'll get to, like, some of the other stuff later in a moment because, wait, where did I put it all? In fact, it seems like they have not built too much over in Freedom, Georgia, for example. So it's kind of funny, you can maybe say, well, some things are goofy. I tried getting an application for return to the land. Is this like, this is probably public, so I don't think this is like, why do I feel like a liberal journalist? I wasn't really applying. I just want to see your application so I could show it on my show. But they had this section about how often do you think about the Roman Empire? And you could read this and be like, oh, it's maybe a little funny, goofy, or something. But who are the ones building? Who already has cabins and stuff? The ones obsessed about the Roman Empire. And then who is, from the looks of it, not doing so hot, with still maybe just dirt, not much built at all in years. The haters, the ones who are like, we are building this on, like, anger on we hate white people. Can we say the people of the Ozarks to have no anger? I'm not saying that. But consider for a moment the motivation, right? It's like we want to build something for our families, and even whatever idea they have, wrong, right, whatever. I mean, it's all an idea, no? The point is, it's interesting to see what you build your house on, so to speak. And some things are a lot less stable, or just pure sand. Like, I'm mad at white people, and I have the money to buy this plot of land. Now let's all be mad at white people on this plot of land. Guess what? Nothing happens. Look, we'll get to all that. 888-775-3773. We got some calls to get to. I don't see anything wrong with this. I think it's fine. I think there's maybe lessons to learn. People, whatever that may be. I don't know what that may even be. Whatever lessons that is. It's not an easy thing. That's what I find it. It's essentially fine. Like, I don't find any problem with it, but I do wonder about, how do I say this? Because they're building cabins. You're seeing them do it, right? You're seeing them do something here. You saw that man on the JLP show do something out there in South Africa. Seems like a nice spot they got going. That Orania. So, like, if you want to do it, you could do it, it seems. And shout out to the builders. Shout out White History Month is maybe in them a bit. You know what I'm saying? Out there building stuff. But what I'm also trying to say is consider for a moment, like, why in America, let's just put it in context, why they had to do this. Like, why would they have to do it? What happened here where you were pushed to this? And consider for a moment that, let's say this grows and they do this thing. Well, and then the legal challenges don't stop them or whatever. And then there's like, okay, we want to make a city. I saw some of them say, we want to make a city. Well, what do you do then when you want to make a city? You got to incorporate municipalities. Now you do have to follow the rules. And it's like, hey, you can't be discriminatory. And so, what I'm bringing up is how this is difficult. Not doomed. Maybe this is the seed of a future separatist state, nation. I don't know. But is it, what's the word here? How do I describe what I'm thinking here? Simply put, you're still up, they're still like, is it running? I don't want to say they're running. I don't want to say they're doing anything, but simply put it like this. You got a much bigger problem to face, in a sense, if you see it as a problem. Maybe you don't have to see it as a problem. You have your own world, but put it like this. You still have this America that sees whites in that way or whatever. Is it a ghetto? Is it kind of a ghettoization? Is this a word that can be placed here anywhere? What do y'all think about that? Anyways, I do want to get to calls. 888-775-3773. Mark, Los Angeles. Sir, we got you on the air.
Yeah,
Happy White History Month, sir.
Yes, sir. Same to you. Yeah, I'm the one that brought this issue up to Hake in regards to Back to the Land in Arkansas.
That's right.
And basically, I think they just want to get away from rap music. I mean, you can't walk down the street without hearing that nasty, satanic, demonic so-called music. They want to get away from going into Walmart and seeing families of Negroes stealing things and nothing's done about it. That's why they want to move to have a white nation, or, well, a little mini nation. And before I go on, if I could, if you allow me, I would want to shout down to a person who put John Brown in the White Man's Hall of Fame. That demon has no place in the White Man's Hall of Fame. He killed white people.
What are you talking
John
about?
Brown did. He ordered his black revolutionary slaves to attack white people while they were in church because they were defenseless. The man was pure evil. And for Popcorn to put that guy's name in the Hall of Fame was like putting
I'm familiar with
Satan.
Popcorn. So this is like a hate report. I'm familiar with
he's a
Popcorn. I missed
scumbag.
his super chat, but shout out to the Hate
you
Report.
didn't miss
Awesome
anything.
show. Tell me about John
Pardon?
Brown. I'm not familiar with John Brown. How about we talk about him?
He was an abolitionist. He hated his own people. He hated his own race. He killed his own fellow white brothers. He murdered them, and he instructed Negroes how to kill white people.
Why did he do that?
He was demonic. Pardon?
Why did he do all that?
Because he was against slavery, and he hated his own race.
Said he was
and
against
he called
slavery.
Himself,
against
Pardon me?
slavery. Gotcha. Against
Yeah, he was
slavery.
anti-slavery.
He was abolition.
Yeah. Abolitionist, and he was anti-white, and he was finally brought to justice at the end of a rope. And I'm thankful for my white brothers who did that. That devil deserved to die. But anyway,
Did you say John Brown?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How does that happen? Would you know how to explain something like that to me? Like, I just kind of looked him up. Born 1800. How does John Brown become a white hater, as Mark describes him?
Well, you could. I don't know what they're going to tell you.
Besides, like his actions, I guess. You know, it's like, I guess how do you think someone is? You tell me he's white. Born in Connecticut. He's a white man. How did that
Connecticut
happen?
Yankee. He was a Connecticut Yankee, meaning he was a self-hating white man. He was Antifa of the 19th century, and he was brought to justice. Unfortunately, we're not bringing the white.
And he's a true white man. I've been like, I hear about not real white people, so I don't know. Now I'm like, now I don't know.
No, he was quite the opposite. The thing that really struck me about him was that he told his black revolutionaries to attack white people while they were in church because they wouldn't be armed and they would be attackable. That's the kind of individual this demon was that Popcorn has such a high affection.
And he was a Christian?
Hey, he claimed to be. Martin Luther King claimed to be a Christian.
Are you able to pinpoint that? Like, what ideology came down? I guess it was abolition, right? They were against slavery. Was it really, trying to put my finger on it, was it really like, wow, we are just wrong for the slavery thing and wrong with the black people and all that? Is that where this self-white hatred that you described comes from, you think?
Yeah, well, it's one thing to be anti-slavery. It's another thing to kill your fellow white men in order to get rid of slavery. He's a hero to every black racist in America and around the world. Like this dopey Mays seems to like him. Every Negro I've ever met that was a white hater, they point to John Brown as their favorite white man in history. That tells you a lot right there. And that's all I wanted to say on John Brown. He was the devil, and I'm hoping that Hake removes him from the White Man's Hall of Fame. He has no place there. He should be in the Satanic Hall of Fame.
Who put him in the Hall of Fame?
This Popcorn clown.
So Hake has the authority to remove him?
I don't know.
Is this Hall of Fame simply in Popcorn's head?
No, it's in my head. I'm the one that said it. I said
so then,
for white people.
But like, isn't that hilarious? Isn't that humorous logistics there? Like, who made this Hall of Fame? And you're asking Hake to take it down. Hake, sir, take it down from the Hall of Fame.
No.
I know he does have authority. I agree. Hake does have authority like a white man.
Not take the Hall of Fame down. Just take John Brown out of there.
Right, but you're telling me Hake has this authority. So who put him up in the first place? Was it Popcorn?
Yeah.
So this is a Hall of Fame that exists simply in Popcorn's head.
No. I guess I'm the one who started that term. In memorial to White History Month, I thought we should have,
Oh, so you got the keys
to
to the Hall of Fame. You take it down. We'll take down that photo from this guy, John Brown. But
okay,
look,
well,
you're telling me he really is a white man, though, like a Christian, not a Jewish man, like nothing else. Like,
yeah. But
so wait, doesn't he belong in the history? Well, maybe not the Hall of Fame, but some sort of museum. Shall we not remember?
I would say that the Hall of Fame that worships Satan would be a good place to put John Brown's picture. It's like it's like putting a statue to Satan at the Vatican to put John Brown with good white men. That's a disgrace and a dishonor. John Brown was evil. There's a group. There used to be a group. I don't know if it's in existence anymore. It was called the John Brown Anti-Klan Committee. They were communists. They were women with hair in their arms, lesbian, evil, and they were the John Brown Anti-Klan Committee in memory of their satanic man from history. I just thought you and the audience should know that. I don't know if the group exists anymore, but they were around in the 80s. They would go to Klan demonstrations and try to shut down their First Amendment rights.
So the haters really liked him. It's funny when someone wants to pick a great man, when you're a hater, you pick someone just because they did something that your side agrees with. That's how you know you're a hater. You're like a shallow person. You're like, wow, yeah, you did something good for my race. You did something good, right?
Yeah, but
when I think of a great person, I can think of pretty great men who I maybe even disagree with. I don't know. I'm not trying to be like, I'm such a great person for that, but even like, I bet you can bring me a number of, maybe even John Brown to some degree, people in history that were, terrible or I totally disagree with, but they were upstanding men. And I'm not saying I totally disagree with like the Confederates. I don't really even know, but it seems like they were quite upstanding men in many cases. You understand what I'm saying here? So it's like, when I'm picking a great man, a shallow person is never going to pick a Confederate general like being a great person because it's a shallow thing. If you allow me to repeat that. Go ahead. You were saying something, sir.
Well, that's pretty much all I got on him. But I was going to say in regards to the back to the land movement in Arkansas and Missouri, these people are just white people who are fed up. They've had enough black fatigue. They don't want to mix with them. They have every right to not want to mix with them. And no communist civil rights law should intervene. But I don't know if you heard me on the Hate Show, but already the Attorney General of Arkansas is maybe trying to sue them to bankrupt the group and force them into having to integrate with people they know hate them. And It's no different what's happening in Arkansas with my white brothers and sisters than what happened at Ole Miss back in 1961, when at the point of a bayonet, the Army, U.S. Army forced white kids to mix with Negroes at Ole Miss in 61. That was communism. When they use military force, the government, to force you to do something like that you don't want to do, and they have no right to do it, that's communism. When they forced us to wear masks and tried to force us to get the vaccine, although the government wasn't enforcing us to get the vaccine, it's still communism. Because by proxy, employers would go to their employees and say, if you don't get the shot, we're going to terminate you. And the reason we're mandating this is because it's been government recommended. So basically, either get the shot or get fired. It's government, it's communism by proxy is what COVID was. And with regards to the civil rights movement and integration, that was all un-American. It was all communist. We had segregation legal for 100 years. There was no reason to change it. They changed it because our government back as far back as the 50s was becoming infiltrated by communists. After World War II ended, and National Socialism was defeated, the commies felt they had a foothold in America. And you could talk to any civil writer, and they'll tell you they started rebelling, and the civil rights movement got pushy and then violent in the 60s, but they became pushy in the 40s. Actually, right after World War II is when the civil rights thing started getting ugly. You had a civil rights bill movement in the 20s, but it wasn't as effective because we had the Klan to keep that in balance. But by the 40s, things are going south. And by the 50s, they ordered integration. And by the 60s, the civil rights communist front movement blossomed into acceptability. And that's why we're at where we're at today. And that's one of the reasons whites are trying to form their own community to keep away from evil. They tried it in Idaho in the 80s, in the 1980s. But the government and private commie groups sued them out of existence. Wow. And I'm seeing that this may happen with these guys in Arkansas. Let's pray that they're successful. But one other person.
That's how it begins, no? I mean, we never know what will happen tomorrow, but that's how these things begin in a sense. You were going to say, because I wanted to just simply say, I mean, that's why I don't disagree with this stuff, because, and why we need a White History Month, why I don't think it's divisive, or maybe to some it might be divisive. Like, well, if you disagree with Black history and all these other history months, we don't need a White History Month. But in a sense, to bring home what you're saying, in another way, because of immigration and how much the country's changed in a large way, it may not come back in any serious way, like in America you're talking about. And so it's for that reason that we should remember the white history, and
sure,
because then people will start forming up how they should or want to, etc. But you got to leave that open in that way with people thinking freely.
But what scares me, Nick, is that when the time comes when whites officially become a minority in this country, we're not going to have any say in the government. We're not going to have any pull with the politicians.
That's what I'm getting at.
Obama-type criminals will run the government. They'll ignore the Constitution like they do already. They'll ignore the Bible. The Bible and the Constitution are going in the trash can when these black and brown communists take over. And
that's what I'm getting at. It's like with that because of there's nothing in the way of that. You got to have white history month. You got to have people form how they want to, because with the trend as it is, you just imagine being in a incorporated city and saying we want to have a white police force, a white to police this neighborhood, or anything white like that. It is just not allowed. You would be shot down.
One thing about that back to the land movement, where it's going to be all whites if it succeeds, I don't think they'll need a police force. Well, they might, maybe security guards, but since there won't be any Negroes
if they just never bring in slaves.
Well, no.
Put it like this, right? Because I heard from you, I think, so really, I'm just being humorous. I'm not saying this is fact. I think you told me that police were created to initially in America to deal with runaway slaves or something like that.
Correct. Well, they used bounty hunters.
So just don't bring in slaves, and you'll never need police, and then you'll never have crime.
That includes illegal aliens.
Sounds a little ridiculous.
Illegal aliens are slaves. They're basically voluntary slaves, but they're slaves. But these people in Arkansas, they don't want them either. They don't want cheap labor. They'll be like real white men and build their own, make their own plumbing, make things work the way our founding fathers did. But this place in Georgia, this Freedom, Georgia, they're still living in tents. Is that the modern Kush? We hear so much about Kush, the fairy tale land of black people. Is that going to be the future?
I only heard
Kush?
That on the Hake Report.
Yeah, it's all a lie. I love Hake. I'm not calling him a liar.
No, I'm just saying that you're bringing up something I heard on the Hake Report. I haven't heard anywhere else, to be fair. I guess that does add to what you're saying.
Yeah, Kush is a myth. But the thing is, if you compare 5 years of black people being untethered by the government in their efforts to build a black community, their own black little city or whatever, but when the whites try to do that, the government comes down on them, private groups, everybody wants to sue them out of existence. They hate us so bad, but they can't live without us. If Ronnie's listening, explain that one, bald man. He says that, he's for integration and black people are great. Well, how come they can't live without us? And why do they hate us so much that they won't let us separate from them? Not just that goes to any snivel writer or any liberal or Negro who's a pro-integrationist. You hate us so bad, why won't you leave us alone? Let us build our own country, our own nation like our founders did.
Yeah, I don't think grievance alone is enough to build something and be right independent. I don't think I don't think grievance alone, looking at being like I want to create my own thing because I hate these people is not, that's just not enough in my but I hear what you're saying. I think that's why Freedom Georgia not working and all that. You were going to say
that well, I had a couple things, but if you look at the black
I think we're going to
cities,
get to all that here in a moment. So
the black cities that have been taken over that were once white run, all your American major cities were well kept, safe places to live until the 1960s, when after the riots of the 60s happened, most of those big cities in America became black infested, and they put in commie mayors and city councils and ran most of the white people out. But then when they lost their tax base from working white folk, it just went to heck. The city went to heck. Because they didn't have the funds anymore. The white people working and paying taxes keeps the police paid, the fire department, the streets clean. These people have no concept of how to run a civilization. They never have. And like Jesse Lee Peterson said, whites build and blacks destroy. I think that pretty much says it all in regards to them.
I almost didn't want to say so. Okay, you said last thing. Okay, fine. This is your last thing. I have one last thing for you, and then we're going to move on. We got to go.
Have you seen on TikTok how some of these black people are talking about Hulk Hogan? I mean, they're demonizing him.
I'm not familiar. I think he said the N-word in the past. I mean, look.
Who, me?
You get no, the
Hulk
Hulk Hogan.
did, yeah, Hulk.
Oh, yeah. No, something deeper, I think. It was his daughter or something.
Yeah, she was going to marry one. And he totally was against it. Yeah. And that's when he said those words. All he was doing was looking out for her safety. He didn't want her to be a single mom with a half-breed kid. I mean, I love Hulk for that. That makes me love him even more.
Seems like a normal thing, actually.
Yeah. Gosh.
But,
well, what was your thing for me? You said
simply, I was just thinking this. I didn't even think I'd even mention it. I don't even know how to broach it, but put it like this. Because it's like I almost answer my own question in my head, but I'll just put it out there. It's like whites going out there, making their own place out there in the Ozarks. I wonder to myself, is it a little bit? It's a little bit of a how am I trying to say? A little bit of a whimper compared to what they really need to stand up against, right? This is just something I think of in my mind. It seems a little shallow when I say it out loud, but then I realize, okay, well, I mean, it's like, how are they going to team up, right? How are white people in America going to realize what is going on here? We need to have our country how we used to have it. And so then they go off and make their own place. So I guess I answered my own question, but what do you think of that? Do you agree with any of that? Is it kind of ghetto?
Sure.
They have to kind of go off and make their own thing.
Well, they do. That's why
meanwhile, all these immigrants, these other people buying up, they're thriving in it. Some of them, some are thriving and making it happen. Go ahead.
Like
and then we got to move on.
Well, no, like our founding fathers, when they got suppressed and their rights were suppressed in England, they came over here and built the greatest civilization in the history of the world. And then slavery came, Satan's curse, and now we're living with out-of-date farm equipment, and we're supposed to make them our equals. It's not going to work. It'll never work, and it'll collapse our civilization. They're only 13% right now. But when you add the other POCs, we're in trouble. And that's all I got for you, Nick.
All right, Mark. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for your call.
God bless you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Take care. Gonna get back to calls here. Everybody call me. Thank you. 888-775-3773. So, you might wonder to yourself, like, well, there may be, well, why? But why, Nick? Could it, in what world would they ever need to do anything like leave and be in their own area? What are they fearing? I see on the internet, to be fair, I see some of that. What are they even afraid about? What do white people have to be afraid about? You saw some of this on the JLP show. Do we really need to go through the footage? I think I'd only go through the footage, all the film, if I maybe had something more insightful to tell you about what exactly happened. I cannot piece together or tell you exactly what happened. I would not be able to tell you any information on this, so whatever. I don't want to spend too much on the footage. But you might be familiar with some jazz festival out down in Cincinnati. I don't know how this started. It seems to me like this guy in the black pants may have even swung somewhere. There's some other guy not in black pants. There's some woman who got brought into it. I didn't see them start anything. But it becomes a bit of a savage fight with a crowd of people hooping and hollering, not to Jesus, on their phones, filming everything. And then you get the ladies, it just seems like a big crowd really just jumps in and starts beating on this guy. The girls get in on it. It seems like a number of people try to defend this guy. Those people pretty much get the same treatment, essentially. And it leaves one woman on her back, kind of knocked out with what looks like a little bit of blood streaming down her mouth. So that's pretty violent, moving on there. Like, again, I can't really piece together. We don't need to go through the footage because I'm not going to give you anything insightful about exactly what went down. So, but they're talking about this footage a bunch on the internet as well, bit viral moment. And they're saying, this is why you got to move away. It's a mess. And there's something about an altercation, all that, how it may start, whatever. At some point, it's not self-defense, right, anymore. In a true sense, that can be true of any conflict. At some point, things can stop being, I'm afraid for my safety. It's like that clearly has gone out the window. Maybe some of that happened in this situation. And it seems a little bit savage, I don't think I'll put it like this. I was watching that, and I got to say, even in my life growing up, like in school and just whatever around, it's just seen conflict, fighting, like full out fighting over offense, over like being offended, like, hey, what the hell, why are you talking to me like that? Full out fighting like that. I got to say, it's really kind of blown up maybe in some years. Kind of a different thing, kind of a different flavor, trend, so to speak, in America. And I've said this too about young people. I see some fight videos, for example. I watch film. Okay, I'd be watching film. I'd be watching fight videos. And I see the young kids, and I see the white kids too in the school fighting. They're fighting like the black kids now. They're fighting like the black kids, like they have like. If you don't understand this movement, then you don't understand. You don't watch film. If you understand the movement, then you watch film, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you have brothers and sisters. I don't know. But they're fighting like the black kids and fighting over, like, it's just something I noticed. Like, what do I know, right? I'm not in that school, but I see these kind of like kids fighting and they all saying the same kind of slang. Hey, it's a little bit, I've said it. The Overton window may have moved certain ways, but the youth's window, like, I don't know, blackness window is definitely blacker. But anyways, it's in their speech and other things. They may not even realize it. And maybe even in their conflict resolution skills. That's what I'm trying to say here. But look, they're fighting in Cincinnati. Maybe you can maybe draw a parallel here why people don't want to have their own place, want to be in neighborhoods that are safer, where the stores don't have every little thing locked up. I need toothpaste. I need this. I got to ring this bell. They're not coming. They're busy over there. And I just need some mouthwash. It's all behind plexiglass. It's all locked up. And people, it's not just white people, right? Are you familiar with, and then we'll get to calls here, Shomrim? What does it say? Is it Shomrim? Sorry. Is that, how do the Hebrews, do they roll that R? What does it sound like? Shomrim. Shomrim. The Shomrim. They're like a volunteer like security force. Shomrim, I think, means guard or security in Hebrew, maybe some language. And Borough Park in New York has 117,000 Orthodox Jews, according to this account, posting this. They live among each other on 3.3 square miles. They even have a taxpayer-funded police force. But I'm supposed to care that 40 white people want to live alone on 150 acres in the Ozarks? This person is bringing up. I saw this post. It was interesting to educate myself a little bit on this. Shomrim, I've seen similar vehicles around this area, kind of patrolling the area, kind of looking around. I've seen them around here, and I'm like, right on, man. I appreciate you being here. I'm in, like, Bonn here is kind of near this Jewish area, and I've seen these like it says like it has these like Jewish looking words on the side of a car. It looks like a cop car, but it's not a cop, and it says something else. It might even say Shomrim. I don't know, but I see them around here. I'm like, when's the last time I saw a cop? I got to say, I was like somewhat grateful, straight up. What can I say? But put it like this: he was bringing this up. That might be even poignant what he's saying to some degree. But what actually happened there was Shomrim. It's an interesting thing, actually. It's to summarize what happened, you basically have Jews who are very strong self-advocates, put it like that. And they were able to, become politically savvy, group up, and petition the city to create themselves. It's not created by the NYPD. It's not created by the city. It's a self-created group that is then given like some municipal funds because they have these things earmarked, as they call them, away for programs and all such. There's basically a pie. The Jews got together, the strong self-advocates, and they were like, let's create the Shomrim and get a piece of this pie to fund it because we got to protect ourselves. Hey, that's just kind of the facts of the matter. You can maybe admire some of that. It is now. You see the poignance in this commentary because imagine if whites did that, right? That is the problem here, right? That's why they created this. What do they call it? Return to the land. I don't think you could make a Shomrim. They'll be like, what? You already have police. It's called America. You have the police in your city. That. Are hamstringed in much of the time. They're not allowed to be real cops. Not saying that you shouldn't call them. They're not going to protect you. I mean, I think even now you're going to be protected, but consider that you can't be a racist as a cop. If you can't be racist as a cop, then you can't really be a cop, can you? You can't really protect people, can you? And you know what I mean by racist? It's just how they see it, which is just mean see color. I don't believe in racism. No such thing exists. Like that really is a made-up word. It truly is an implanted word. That's a fact. 888-775-3773. Let me get to William, California. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
My man.
Welcome, sir.
How you doing?
All is well, sir. Happy White History Month.
As usual, Mark is on fire, and happy White History Month. And I'll get to what I called in for. Mark is on fire with that. A lot of this stuff, slavery. Remember, Lincoln could have ran 4 years before he actually came into office, but he wanted both the House and the Senate so that he could pass the ending of slavery or even to begin to talk about it. And Mark is absolutely right. When you force integration and force things on people, it makes them a little bit uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Civil rights is the same thing. Eventually, things were going to be desegregated eventually, but when you force it on people, it's really not all that.
That's right, William. So it really was at the barrel of a gun, as you put it?
Yeah. I mean, about this, I'll give you a good example. I did not believe this in 2015. One of my best friends told me, he says, that if they keep this up, they keep this bad behavior up, people are going to start hiring their own police force. I'm like, oh, come on, that's a bit much, man. He says, I guarantee you, watch, it's going to happen. Where I live, my subdevelopment, it's gated but not gated. It's not like there's a locked gate. It's gated, but it's open to the public. And the reason why I bought this house is because it wasn't the kind of subdevelopment that every house looks alike. That's what I really liked about it. And I did not believe my friend when he told me this about private police. Within 3 years of me being here, Do you know they have their own armed police cruisers with dogs, their own police state, own police force, private police force.
With
And
dogs, you said?
Yeah. Say again, Nick.
You said with dogs, you said?
They got the dogs. They got black and white. They have cruisers. They're not security guards, man. They're armed. They got the canine. They got the cruiser. It was just like our city police cars.
That's right.
Except for it's for this in here. They're private police. I did not see that coming, and it did happen. It may be getting more popular as we go along here with things that are happening these days.
That's right.
I never seen it coming, but it did happen.
And you're talking about a private police. Is it for a particular area, you said?
Yeah, the subdevelopment I live in, there's 1,500 houses in here.
Gotcha.
But it's gated, but not really gated. They have facilities that only the people that own homes in here can use. The pickleball court, the tennis court, the swimming area, the fishing area, the clubhouse. That's only for the people that own here. It's part of your HOA. So the HOA has definitely kicked in with a little bit more cost. I think they raised it a little bit because they got to pay these services. You know, private police, they got to be paid. But they're just like police officers. They will pull their service weapon out if you get too crazy up in here. And it'd be just like getting shot by a police officer. I mean, they're licensed and but they're private. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you got it, right, people will do it.
Well, they don't want, there's more and more people that are starting to become of age to buy a retirement home. My age group, around between 55 and 80. Those people are starting to buy their last home. You know, it's like their retirement home. And they don't want it in inner city. They don't want it in South Central or Oakland. They don't want that.
You know, you bring up an interesting thing, though. You know, as people are creating this Freedom Georgia or Return to the Land, Arkansas, people in America still today, they segregate with a number of ways what do you call it? It's de facto segregation. You look at a lot of neighborhoods, they separate racially and by income level, et cetera. There's a number of things that already separate us in America.
You're right. They can segregate you with pricing. They can segregate you with that alone. This is a 55 and up area. So that means, you know what that means. There's not going to be any Junko gyms and slides and playgrounds. There's no children. This is pretty much people of the age that don't. I mean, sure, they haven't visit grandkids, neighbors, grandkids, stuff like that. They come in and they go across the street and the golf course and run around. You know, they visit and they're welcome to visit, but the facilities and the neighborhood is for them, and they elected to have private police force, and they're not to be played with. They will walk up to you and ask you, are you a resident? You know, now some people might consider that offending, but I actually like it. And
that is, you said, of course. I bet you everybody out there likes it too.
Oh yeah, we like it. We like it. I've heard complaints about it. That's probably from somebody that doesn't live in here, that's taking a walk. Yeah.
I see. You know, so, William, what'd you call it about, you said?
There has been another mass shooting. It has been another one. Several people have lost their lives up in the Valley area at the Sierra Resort Casino in Reno, Nevada. That's up here in Northern California.
Oh, this is like fresh.
Yeah, just happened. Yeah.
Any deets? Nothing at all?
No motive, nothing, limited information, don't know who it is. He was, the police did discharge their weapons, and the perpetrator was hit. He's in the hospital, and we don't have any details just yet or a motive. But
it's an angry world, man.
It's
people
an angry
are out
world,
of their mind, and I've been watching like maybe crime stuff a little bit too. You know, I've just like gone through the story of a whole bunch of people, and it's all the same thing. It really is the same thing. I know Jesse says this, but it really is the same thing. People are mad. They'll say it's a number of things. I was just watching this killer kid or whatever, and he's like, I was just mad because of this show and this stuff happening with this show that I like. And you look at the kid's life, it's like hated by the parents, hate him, divorce, right? People are whacked out and angry. People are literally whacked out and angry. And they're on
just
the
like
path
what you
to go nuts and
like
kill
you were showing the attack in Cincinnati. I talked to James about it this morning, and I think Ohio is a red state, and Ohio's a beautiful place. I've been there a few times, and Ohio's a nice place, but it's just like we said, it could be a red state, but the cities are definitely blue and liberal. That would be more than likely Cincinnati, Cleveland, and probably more than likely Dayton. All of the major cities will be just like any other state in this country. The major cities are a total mess, But I don't know what kind of anger you have to beat someone up that long, that severe. What we seen with that video you were just showing.
That's right.
I don't what
the Cincinnati thing. Yeah.
I probably, you know what I mean, Nick. I probably can take care of myself if I have to. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I try to work out to keep myself in shape, and that's not to hurt nobody. That is to keep myself in shape for health reasons. And so sometimes I look at myself and say, well, you are taller than people, man. Maybe they could get intimidated, but actually, there's no need. I don't see me hurting anybody on that level. I think I probably
right.
could
You're
take
a responsible gun owner.
I am.
But I got you.
But I just don't see me hurting somebody on that level. I probably could take care of myself, but that doesn't mean that I would go out of my way to hurt. This thing that you just shown, it was just total malicious mayhem.
Yeah. Yeah, at some point, I do wonder, like, at some point, this stops being a conflict that you got to get involved in. You're not in danger anymore. Yeah. Now you're just beating this guy. And it's like a bunch of people filming. And you got to wonder what went down, right? You got to wonder, like, what the heck went down. But
I don't know if I could even
I don't think it matters.
like that.
You said what?
Yeah, I think with the technology, they're going to work. The police chief and the mayor has actually broke their silence, and technology is going to kick in, and they're doing what they did with the protests in Los Angeles. A lot of people have been arrested over the last 2 weeks that were involved with that stuff.
With like facial recognition stuff?
Yeah, that new tech stuff is kicking in, and these people are getting caught.
I heard about that. That's true.
Yeah,
I heard names getting dropped on news reports.
And that's all over the country.
Clear
and some of them
AI.
are actually illegally. Wait a minute. Some of those protesters are illegals themselves. It's like, I would think that I would stay clear away.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, they got
technology kicking in, and they said they're getting ready to go to work to find out who was recording, who the women were, who the men were, because they beat this couple for about 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes. It was just mayhem. It was just crazy. But you mentioned something about Arkansas, where somebody building a town or whites only or whatever what it is.
That's right.
You mentioned something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, hey, you kind of can't blame them. I mean, you force integration on people is not a good thing. It does not turn out good. I remember somebody, one of the most evil trolls that we have available is probably JC, always coming back with some crap, and said something. He said how proud he is of Little Rock Central High School. That wasn't as good a thing that he may not know this, that school probably was better before they desegregated.
Oh.
Now anybody goes to Central, anybody. If we got 27,000, 28,000 high schools in the country, that school is in middle major. It's in the middle of the pack. It's nothing special. And they probably got illegals going there, blacks going there. They probably got just about any and everything going to that school. I guarantee you that school was a better school before desegregation.
Wow.
Hands down. Hands down.
You think so?
Hands down.
Well,
hands down.
It's another thing too, you know, when those people they may already be much older now or not around, maybe possibly. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but consider that maybe some people aren't even thinking. It's like they're just reacting to life now, and so whatever happened with that desegregation, forced integration, all that. I think it's like we could stop talking about all that. We could deal with what's going on.
Yeah, because those people
because it didn't work or
much,
whatever you were thinking, all your plans.
Yeah.
There's maybe a different way to approach each other.
You know, what's one thing I could tell you that's for sure, Nick? Anybody that even mentions anything like that from back in the day, you pretty much know all of the players, including the students. Most of those people, teachers, students, they're dead, man. And nobody alive right now has anything to do with that. They like to reach back to that so that they can, how do you say it, validate their behavior.
That's right.
They'll reach back to it.
That's true.
Say again, Nick.
I said that's true. That's true, William.
Yeah, they're just reaching back to something they had nothing to do with, and more than likely, there may be just a couple of people left that were students, but you can rest assured the teachers, the National Guard people, the politicians, the mayors, the Board of Supervisors, all of those people, they're gone, man. You know, and a lot of times people want to validate their behavior these days and reach back to that and say, well, this is the reason we do this. And the thing that happened in Ohio with the beat down of that couple, you know, that I'm waiting for somebody to call in to, hey, Jesse, or your show, and tell me or tell you guys, what about the whites?
That's right.
No, we're not talking about them. And how do you get to pull them out of your tail once again? Can we? Because that's a smokescreen to keep you from dealing with the behavior.
Absolutely, that's usually what that is.
So, I'm waiting for one of them to call you guys and say it was that beat down was done because of A, B, or C. When you really don't have a case.
Yeah,
bad behavior.
Sick people.
Behavior. Yeah.
Sick people with an agenda.
Correct.
They know it's wrong. They know it's whatever.
Isn't it a shame, Nick?
It's an agenda. But
we could just, come on, everybody, just get along. I mean, just look at me and Nick, man. If Nick was in my town, man, I'd be calling Nick over, hey, man, let's jam. They don't know how to relax. They just don't.
That's right, William. Well, appreciate that, man.
Okay,
William,
man.
call me again.
Take care. All right.
888-775-3773. Throw that on the screen. But yeah, happy White History Month, folks. I see you in the chat. I'll get to all of you. I get to everybody. Thank you for that. All righty. Okay. Now, where were we? You know, since he's mentioned all that, since I've been talking with my callers here, which I'll get back to here in a moment, 888-775-3773. I guess we should just mention this briefly. A little bit on haters, black haters, during White History Month, no less, which if you observed in your heart, sincerely, it would be all people who would do that would benefit. Their lives would get materially better instantly, right away, the moment you let White History Month into your heart. And by that I mean, just like with all this hate, what are you gonna do? You got two options before you: hold on forever, hold on to grievance, what's happening to us, or let go and think and move that attention to what's happening inside of me. But you know, should you choose the other way, you might have a pretty hard life. And I gather that is kind of what's happening here with some people. I mean, you start with this Benjamin Crump guy. You know him as an ambulance chaser or something like that to some degree. A black person is shot by police. You know, it's a little bit, it's just the slightest bit maybe strange, or it looks, the body cam footage looks a certain way. They say a word, or a banned word in America under the Free Speech Amendment. You say one of those banned words, right? On camera, you said the N word. You know, you gather a number, pretty much any of these situations and more. You got this guy, Benjamin Crump, lawyer, type person, civil rights. I think he calls himself someone who defends civil rights at least. Going around, and he just gets in there, starts wedging the whole thing like, this is bad, but he said the N-word. But he had the knee on the neck. But, now I don't know if he was involved with all that, but he, right, was a black man unarmed. Why is he dead? You'll have Benjamin Crump pretty much show up to any of these representing the family. Sometimes these families come out doing these press conferences or whatever with, I'm sure, egged on by Benjamin Crump to get the whole thing going. And they're just some of the, like, truly simple-minded people, to put it nicely. Just, how are you? But it's wrong. It's wrong what you're doing to my son. It's like, dude, this guy swindled you. And he used your anger. He used a very basic, just a very nasty, basic kind of thing, right? Greed, thrill, anger. These are the things that drive people. And you think you're sophisticated. Asking your questions, I need this and that. Jesse, I got this problem. What's your problem? I got a girl. It's like, no, your problems are, and these are just words too, because these are just words, right? Greed, lust, right? Anger, envy. These are the things that drive you. But where was I? Yeah, that's what this guy, Ben Crump, uses. And so he's against this, right? Whites only, and they're apparently expanding, possibly. I mean, that's what's got Ben Crump a little bit unhappy here. Wow, a whites-only group is trying to expand its community into Missouri by barring black, he capitalizes black, Jewish, well, I guess he capitalizes Jewish too, and non-white members. They claim it's about shared ancestral values and living among like-minded people. I have no words. That's just I don't understand this. Living among like-minded people, that's insane. I don't think anybody misunderstands that. I don't think there's a single person in the world who would not understand I want to live among like-minded people. Even if you disagreed, even if you think all that like-mindedness is evil or terrible. You're just being a liar. I think you're lying here. I think you have plenty of words. But that's what's happening. They may be expanding. You know, do your thing, sir. Whatever it is that you're, you know, those return to the land people doing, you know, make it happen, whatever. They are bringing it up, though, to Benjamin Crump. This you? You know, the internet is always good at that. Apparently, they dug up 2021. Years ago, Ben Crump is on it. He seems quite happy about this one. 19 other black families purchased more than 500 acres of farmland in Toomsboro, Georgia, to invest in their Freedom Georgia initiative. Their black-owned initiative and many others will greatly benefit from the Farmer Relief Program. Now, he's not saying, he didn't say, I'm so happy about this black-only place. And I don't remember, was Freedom Georgia explicit? Like the fellow over there at the Return the Land initiative? Were the people in Freedom Georgia, that settlement in Georgia, they bought some land. Were they explicit? I know that they were in the videos it was some years ago, we even reported on this, if I remember. They seem to have been talking about wanting to create a place by us, for us. I remember seeing the CEO, a woman, saying that. In fact, it's a pair. It's a pair of ladies who, I don't know where they got money. I believe one of them funds the whole thing. They bought this land. More an update on it in a minute here. You may have heard they're not doing too well. They still have yet to build stuff. I don't even know, but they might be kind of true. I'll tell you that in a sec. But what did I want to know here? Because I want to know if they were explicit in denying whites, for example. Anyways. A quote from one of the co-founders, Ashley Scott. Freedom is not just for black people. It's for all people. We just want to be safe in our blackness. I don't know. Look, that was just some of the stuff that was being brought up in response. Hey, what about Freedom Georgia? What do you think about that? And they were clear in some of the stuff I saw on how they wanted to be safe in their blackness from this world where they can't be. So we're going to run off and do that thing. Hey, in some sense, that's fine, so to speak. You know, I do gather a certain spirit to it all when I was seeing some of the footage. Like a grievance thing, like, okay, am I going to say the people over there in Arkansas have no anger? I'm not saying that. But it was what was explicit with these people here to me was their anti-America kind of like, why, like, oh, we were oppressed. It was terrible. You can't be black in America, so we got to do this. I'm familiar with a lot of that talk. So what else about this? You know, that's pretty much it. They're trying to do their thing. It seems like I was trying to gather, well, where are they now? Now, this is 4 years ago, some kind of aerial view. Oops. Some kind of aerial view of the plot of land. You know, it's a little sparse. But, you know, they got a lot of work on, right? 4 years ago. This is empire building type beat. I believe this is an empire building type beat. This is the cookout of all cookouts. You know, just some of the aerial view, a lot of vehicles, tents, RV type vehicles, and they're having a community. Okay, they're building it, they're eating stuff, and they're doing it. Freedom Georgia Initiative. That was 4 years ago. There was a Juneteenth celebration about a year later. I believe 4 years ago is when they pretty much started, no? 2020-ish. So about a year later, they're like, we're doing Juneteenth, y'all, okay? Juneteenth in Wilkinson County.
Across the U.S.
Freedom,
are taking
Georgia.
to nature to celebrate Juneteenth. 41 NBC's Elizabeth Gutierrez takes us to a campsite in rural Wilkinson County where people are preparing for the weekend festivities.
For Eric Wilson, Juneteenth is a time to come together and
RV, vehicle, tent.
Celebrate freedom.
Even though we're coming from all over, we're still family. So I'm coming from Detroit. People will come from other parts of the country.
So this guy doesn't even live here.
Wilson, like many others, is stepping away from the city to camp out in the area known as Freedom, Georgia in Toomsboro.
That was a little pan of the camera.
To camp out in the area known as Freedom, Georgia in Toomsboro.
It's a lot of nothing.
This location is so important because this is freedom. This is where we plan to build a community for us, by us.
Laura Cooper is the CEO of the Freedom Georgia Initiative. She bought over 500 acres of land in 2020 with the goal of creating a community for people like her. The campout allows her to give people new experiences.
This is just a celebration of freedom. You know, us as a Black culture having an opportunity to celebrate a day that's just for us.
Camp-out festivities will last for 3 days. Families will be able to participate in
Still don't
workshops,
see quite much.
yoga, and watch the live
RV.
performances. Although it may be Wilson's first time camping in freedom, he's looking to the future.
Really just feel compelled to.
What was that?
First time camping in freedom, he's looking.
Is that the garden? The sandbox? I mean, could WMJT, was there anything else you could have filmed? Could you have filmed literally anything else? Was there nothing else?
To the future.
Really just feel compelled to freedom. Want to go ahead and participate. I'd love to come down and maybe one day build a house. So we'll see what happens. You know, I've met a lot of nice people.
Along with having fun.
What is that? This is just a bunch of pallets. Hold up. This is the fort, right? This is the kids' fort.
People who attend.
That's just like a kid's fort, right?
Are learning how to live off the land. In Toomsboro, Elizabeth Gutierrez, 41 NBC News.
Wait. I thought it's kind of a funny clip to end on, right? It sounded like somebody saying, wait.
Toomsboro,
don't do it like that.
Elizabeth Gutierrez, 41 NBC News.
Or maybe wait a minute. It's kind of a funny clip to end it on. Wait a minute. Not like that. Just kind of sets like a outgoing vibe there of they're still trying hard or something. You know, it's a funny thing, I guess. It's I think a matter of leadership. You wonder what they're motivated by, who these two ladies were, or who they are, where they got money. They're like, we're just gonna buy a plot of land, and we just need to be free to be black. It's like, you need to build stuff, maybe have a plan. Hey, others have tried it. Slab City, are you familiar with Slab City? Then we'll get to calls. Where is this? You know, I think it's in the desert, a lawless city, they say. There's all sorts of
What brought you out here?
Documentaries on this. And they say it's dangerous. And there's not a lot out there. It's just a lot of RVs and stuff. I don't know if it was started by a white man. I don't know who Leonard Knight is. Maybe it's a white man. I don't know who this man is. I think he's dead. He was some sort of quasi-Christian guy, sort of. I don't know. I don't know him, but I guess I say that when I think someone's maybe a little kooky. Maybe I'm judging. But he was a bit of an artist. They call it Salvation Mountain. And upon this mountain shall we build Slab City. And they did that. And Leonard Knight did just that. And over the years, I think they boast like 150 residents. I think most of them are on SSI and government benefits. It's a bit of a weird city where a cop from the nearby city, like 15 minutes away, kind of comes in once a day. So they do have like it's like a weird between stage. And he believed he wanted to be away from Babylon, Leonard Knight and the people who wanted to live out there in Slab City, away from the terrible Babylon, who was sinful place, sinful city. And, you know, he loved Jesus, I think, this guy. Jesus loves you and you love Jesus, right? I mean, so whatever, look. I don't know. Slab City is kind of a failure, I think. I think you can say it's an abject failure. But I'm not saying much beyond that. It's just, I guess others have tried it. I don't know. Maybe he was just kind of a strange person, right? And if you got like someone maybe more serious, maybe these people over there in Arkansas are a little more serious, maybe. So that's what I mean by a matter of leadership to some degree. Anyways, stuff with all that. Freedom, Georgia. And oh yeah, this was my last little attempt to find out what's going on with Freedom, Georgia. Again, I can't tell you how well or not it's going, but I mean, this is supposedly the Instagram account. Last post, 2022. I guess, you know, this is that metal box I saw. And you peruse the Instagram, and it's a lot of vehicles and them walking in freedom. amongst the flocks of quail. And that's not much beyond that. But hey, that's it with that. I don't know what it takes, personally. I don't know what it would take. But hey, happy White History Month, maybe? Nation building, huh? Community building, 888-775-3773. How you doing, Rick? Hampton, Virginia.
What's going on, brother Nick? What's happening with you, my brother?
All is well, Rick. Nice to hear from you.
Man, it's good to hear from our brothers, man. Good service yesterday. William,
That's
Mark,
right.
all of the brothers, man, that's been calling in. And I just want to comment on the Jacksonville incident. Now, the full video, I think what I have seen shows
Are you
that,
talking about the young man punched by the cop and
yeah, the one in Jacksonville. The one in Jacksonville. He was they pulled him over because he didn't have on his headlights while it was raining.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
at the time, it wasn't raining when they pulled him over, and it wasn't raining at the time they pulled him over. So they saying that's the issue. But
So they pulled him
what
over, right?
happened
They had initially pulled him over for, right, something they believe was a fare.
not having his lights on while it was raining. And then after that, the police, but before then, they warned them and warned them.
Come back to your phone, Rick.
Them. Oh, can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and before then, they warned them and warned them. The initial pullover, they warned them. They talked to them. They nearly bagged him about 7 times.
They did. Rick? They told him to get out for sure.
Yeah, they told him to get out, and they told him to raise the window down, and they even warned him if he didn't get out, they was going to bust his window, and which they did. Now, the interesting point is going to be, of course, on to take a crop, they're going to try and prove that they shouldn't have stopped them in the first place. But even once you get stopped, shouldn't you do what the law asks you?
Absolutely. So you're saying that's what they're gonna you've seen that's what they want to argue. They want to argue that they shouldn't have stopped them in the first place.
That's what Undertaker Crump them going to argue. They're going to say they shouldn't have pulled them over in the first place.
I saw him say something about driving while black. This is a classic example of driving while black he used. I saw him say that.
He gonna take them because he got a chance. This case can go maybe 50-50 because if they look at the whole video, they can say he was not compliant.
That's right.
And which he wasn't. They did warn him, and they gave him plenty of chances. And he still just locked the door and did what he wanted to do. And then that's when they bust his window out. The police did.
That's right.
And they did warn him, and they talked to him. They warned him, 7 times.
They keep telling him, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They told him, we're going to break the window.
And they kept telling them, and Nick, they kept telling them and telling them and telling them, and yes, they kept warning them, and he just wouldn't do it. He kept on, and you know what? Who you blame for that? Social media, civil rights leader.
A lot of wind with your old Rick there.
What's that, Nick?
You got a lot of wind there, Rick.
Oh, can you hear me now? What about now?
Go ahead, much better. You said social media?
And the media, social media, black politicians, white liberals, they encourage this kind of behavior to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, it's like it's a general justification when you have a culture that says, well, your rights are being violated, etc. I mean, they'll use terms like driving while black. How are you going to have any semblance of a normal acting populace when they believe such nonsense? But Rick, man, thank you. Did we lose Rick?
Oh, Nick, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Yeah, and here's another thing too. Like with the Metcalf case, Undertaker Crump haven't touched that case at all. He haven't even looked at that case because you know why? He already did the calculation and looked at that case. He said, "This ain't gonna be no payout."
Okay. Yeah, you think he already could see that.
Yeah,
one.
you think
He's like, no,
you don't think he'd be on?
There's no chance to fool people on this one. Whatever.
Yeah, because when you stab somebody in the heart, man, that's. I'd rather for somebody to shoot me, man. I mean, to stab somebody in the heart. I mean, you could have been that angry, man. I don't think that boy provoked it, Carmelo to stab him in the heart. So I guess Undertaker Crump is saying, if that had been my son, I probably would have done the same thing.
Is that so? I guess that's
so.
Classic
That's why I don't think he's touching that case. But he ain't been near that case. He's been a church mouse on that case.
That's pretty telling. But that's how this camera works. You know, you got to look at your marks and see, well, how much time am I going to invest here? What's my return on my time investment here? What, you know, that he doesn't see a return on Austin Metcalf is telling.
Right. I mean, this case, even with the Jacksonville case, that can go 50-50 because Undertaker Crump going to try and say they shouldn't have pulled him over in the first place, but the state going to try and say, hey, it was raining, and he should have had his lights on. And then to me, they can get him, even when the police pull you over. You know, I know when I get pulled over, I try and really have a good attitude because if you ain't done nothing, you have a confidence that, hey, I ain't do nothing. But 9 out of 10, when we get pulled over by the police, there, Nick, we already know what they pulling us over for. The truth be told,
yeah, usually
we know we were speeding, we know it, and I think he was trying to hide. They said he had marijuana in his pocket, so I believe he was trying to hide that more than anything.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, they said they found marijuana on him.
Oh, wow. So he's riding dirty.
And then they found the knife, so they trying to say they would have never found that, but they shouldn't have pulled him over in the first place. But it was raining. To me, at that moment, it looked like it wasn't raining at the moment they pulled him over. But it obviously was raining before. Why they pulled him out. And the state law of Florida says you have on your lights during while it's raining. So it could have been that it was raining and then it stopped for about maybe the last 10 minutes. It stopped raining.
It's a funny one to claim discrimination too, because, you know, if it really is the rules, then all you would have to look at is, does this car have the lights on? It's a much clearer thing than having to look at a driver and see what color skin they are so that you could, you know, stop them, you know, because of some racism thing. It's like, no, there's a much clearer thing here. It's like, how about you have bright headlights on or off? It's like they're clearly off. We don't even need to go to the skin color. Like, it's kind of a funny one.
You know, man, it's just like, this case going to be interesting because I know Undertaker Crump, they're going to try and say it wasn't raining. So why did he get pulled over? That's going to be their case. And the state going to try and say, hey, it was raining. We pulled him over. He should have done what he was told. They was polite when they was polite with him, and they kept asking him, and then he kept on just locking the door, just ignoring them. And police, they bust the window. Now, here's what people don't realize either there, Nick. Once it escalates, it will not de-escalate till they got you in handcuffs and on the ground. It won't de-escalate. Because you know some people, once it escalates, now he wants to try to put his hands up and surrender. Oh, no. You finna get roughed up a bit now because we was trying to keep it from going to
this level. They had to break a
level.
window to get to him. I mean, it's pretty chaotic at that point.
Right.
It's pretty on at that point.
I did a correction, and we did the same thing. When a prisoner wouldn't cooperate, we would get him, man, about time we suit up and use force and extract him out the cell, we gave him patience, plenty of time. And once we suit up, we go in there and get him, and he go around and he go and say, hey, I give up. Nope. We're going to take you out of there. We're going to rough you up a bit because you escalated it.
That's how it's got to be. That's true, Rick. Man, appreciate you calling this.
No problem, Nick. Thanks for taking my call. Love you, brothers, man. Keep up the faith.
Call me again, sir. Oops. 888-775-3773. Here's a little bit of a kind of a funnier one. A little bit silly. Are you guys familiar with this tall, Russian? What is this guy? Serb. Oh, he's a Serb. Boj a Serb. Those Serbs, man. You know, I heard these people, they're like somewhere over there in the, what is it, the Balkans? What do you call this? Is Serbia one of these Balkan places? Eastern Europe, no? The Balkan. Right. There is no universal agreement on what constitutes the Balkans. However, the following are included: Albania, Bosnia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Montenegro, Romania, Serbia. You know, basically all of those, or some of those, were part of like a big nation, no? Like Yugoslavia or something. It's hard to govern a nation with all these different ethnicities and different people, but it's not impossible. It was basically done for some time by whoever led that place, I heard. But I heard these Serbians are like a particular type of unruly people, and in that they're very self-advocating, and they maintain an identity, and they fight for it. Okay? That's what I heard about the Serbians. Take it how you wish. But this Serb, we're talking about Nikola Jokic, basketball player. Yeah, the Serbs play basketball. The Russians do. They all do. Look, they're tall. And Nikola Jokic, I think, is a championship winner. Tell me if I'm wrong here. I don't watch the ball. I don't watch the ball with the hands, okay? I don't, it's like, okay, why aren't they kicking it? I'm like confused. It's fun, though. It's cool. Basketball. But yeah, I think this guy's like a championship winner. Like, he's not like a lout. Maybe he sucks. You guys tell me. Nikola Jokic. He does a little bit on the side. He gets down with a little bit. Maybe this is a little bit of a white history event, a little bit of a white history pastime. Maybe. In fact, isn't basketball a white history pastime? Aren't most of the sports being played now some sort of callback, some more than others, to some kind of European game? These Europeans get together, like, we're going to play these games and we're going to make it all fancy with heraldry, and you're that team. We'll simulate war, maybe. Whatever. Ball sports. Horses. Horse riding. Horse racing. I don't know, all things maybe equine are maybe a bit of white history for you too. Okay, so there's a number of levels here, white history levels going on here. Nikola Jokic, in literal tears, as they write here, in literal tears, after his horse won a race today. I guess he's out there betting on some horses. He barely cracked a smile after he won an NBA championship, LMAO, according to Hater Report. Bro really doesn't care about basketball. Is that true? Basketball heads in the chat about Nikola Jokic. He apparently has shown more emotion than ever at this horse race, and he seems quite elated. There he is.
Nikola Jokića.
Hand in his face in his hands, emotional, red, jumps over the fence here, in tears, hugging the horse. Is he hugging the horse there? Just runs up to it. I guess you could do that when you're Nikola Jokic. Maybe anybody could do that. I don't know. But he is just elated. He's picking up the jockey. I don't really know anything about this clearly, because jockeys usually are on the horse. I don't really even see the race. But this is maybe a different kind of race where they have maybe a chariots. That's pretty white history now. I don't know what's going on. He looks like he's in some kind of chariot. We barely get an image of the race itself. Yeah, as you can see, he's got his leg up on some kind of chariot contraption kind of thing. So you're seeing it, right? He is absolutely elated. He's lifting this guy up, lifting him and the chariot up. The buggy, whatever. They're lifting this guy. This guy's just absolutely elated. You gotta wonder what he bet on. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta wonder. It's like, you gotta wonder if it's like he bet the house, he bet his wife, bet the family, he bet the kids, he bet their future, he bet everything. Is this guy married? Actually, wait, is this guy married? His spouse. Does he have kids? You gotta wonder what he bet. And then to win, you gotta imagine for a second, like, him thanking God, maybe. You know, like, thank you, God. I knew you'd have my back. You know, no, or I'll never bet again. This is the last bet I make. I swear, God, just please let me win. Does Nikola Jokic have kids? Yes, Nikola Jokic does have children. He and his wife are parents to 2 kids. Are we talking about the same guy? Yeah. Yeah. Married kids? Come on. That is so annoying, folks. You know, you type something and it makes a sound. Why is it doing that? Children. Yes, children and kids. So he bet the house, he bet the kids, he bet the family, he bet everything. And then God saved him. You can imagine just imagine for a moment, like, him thanking God or something here, right? Like, yes, I've been saved supernaturally. The elation. I'll never bet again, I swear. I swear. You gotta imagine what happened there. Oh, man. They called them the Trots, Nit. Is that true? The Trots? What are you talking about here? This is Trots, the British version of the Runs. You're making fun of me. The Trots, Maina? You making a joke? Huh? You're saying the Trots is another term for the racetrack? Yeah, they have racetracks in America. Are you making a joke, Maina? Because apparently, according to the internet, having the trots is another thing. Okay, you ever heard of the runs? That's enough. Okay, that's enough. The runs, the trots, very funny, Maina. You got me. Now I'm talking about diarrhea. Okay, which we should not be talking about diarrhea on the air, but you did this, Maina. Okay. That's enough out of the trots, I think. What a mess. Let me close all this because it's freezing up my computer. We are unable to operate. Hold on. We are frozen. I got way too many tabs open. He owns the horse. He raised the horse. Is that true? Wait, is that true? I guess that changes things. Thanks for that, Kevin. Yeah, hit the like button. Don't be rude. He definitely loves horses more than basketball. So is that true? No, it's the jockey chariot things. They're called trots, really? I'm not falling for that again, man. The jockey chariot things are called trots, okay? Yeah, we have the trots. You got me again. Very funny, Mana. All right, folks. Let's keep it moving here. Thanks for the soup. I got a couple super chats, I think. Hold on. I know I got Jermaine with a coffee here. I appreciate that, sir. Happy White History Month. Says, I wish you well. You were asking me to check out a clip here. And, I don't know if we can. I appreciate you sending me a little tip here. I'll have to check this out on my own time. Oh, apologies. Oops. So thank you for that, though. Jermaine. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support, everybody. Aries Saint. And let's see here. And my members on Rumble. We got a little Rumble rant too. That's Jake Husden. Jake Husden. Little Rumble rant from you. Says, today is my birthday. I heard something about that, Jake. Happy birthday, sir. Amazing. So I think that's all the housekeeping. 888-775-3773. In the last bit here, in the last bit of the show, what shall we do? Some randoms, some funnies. I want to save this T-app stuff if you're familiar. I just kind of want to maybe just let it sit. It's not like it's deep news I have to sit on and I really have a good point on it. It's just, but you might be familiar somewhat with this app the ladies were signing up to create a database of us men. I want to save that. More on that maybe later. Tell me if you're familiar with it, though. Tell me if you've at least heard of it. Is it news that goes around, or is this just kind of news for insulated kind of audience on the internet? Also, DJI and drones. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's crazy, but it is kind of sick to look at videos like this and just look at the scale of drones right now. And you can maybe consider what our world might look like. I know this is China, and I believe this is more for like an agricultural application. But you can imagine the number of uses a vehicle like this would be. I mean, you would have. I mean, civilians can own them. They're battery powered, and I read that the batteries are heavier than the whole device itself, the whole drone. And to just see them at this scale, it's kind of a bit of a, what is it? A bit of a, not culture shock. What is it? Like paradigm shock. It's like, what will our skylines look like? I think you could look at this video and kind of have a little bit of an imagination here. Again, I think that's an agricultural application here. I don't know what this music is. Is that the DJ? Oh, never mind. And it's like bigger than a person. I mean, I think it does sound kind of amazing when it turns on. We got like some music there, though. You gotta imagine, where is this guy? Like mountains of China or something? These things, I believe, are to haul. Just to hear it kind of roar on like a motorcycle. These are to haul things, I believe. I forget how much this hauls. Quite a bit. But you can imagine, right? You can imagine these things well designed, or what's the word here? Just connected to a designed grid, a traffic grid, and these things are autonomous. Them flying around hauling things. Intra-city hauling. It's kind of a different look, don't you think? Drastically different. Dang, it's bigger than I thought it was. No, it's a bit of a beast. You know, seeing this fly next to a person, hold on. It's kind of interesting. Hold on. Some of these spray crops, the agras, I mean. Let's see here. This is drone ASMR, I guess. Yeah, I think these are like the sprayers. These spray crops and stuff. Bit of a beast. I guess this is a better look, maybe. Size, whatever. Trying to get a better look at the Kenneth Hall or what? What's up, Albert? How you doing? Appreciate you being in the chat supporting. All right, folks. That's pretty much it. Like, let me see here. What else? We got some super chats. Okay, that's all of our supporters. Thank you so much, by the way, everybody. What else here? Look, we're pretty much coming to an end here. Got to wrap it up here. We did the calls and all that. Coming to a close. You've been watching American Anchor, baby. Hope to bring you some footage soon with JLP out there on Hollywood Boulevard. Kind of a mess on the Hollywood Boulevard, but it was a fine day for us out there over the weekend. But it's Hollywood Boulevard, if anyone's familiar. Aries, I don't know if I said, I just realized this diamond is from today. So thank you for that, Aries. Thank you for supporting. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Appreciate you being a supporter. Thanks, buddy. Gerda, delighted over there on Rumble. Very nice. Let me sure I didn't miss anything here. Great. All right, folks. What else? Let me see YouTube chat. I want to see what y'all are saying real quick before we kind of move on here. We're not dealing with that's enough with the trots. Okay. That's enough out of my chat with that. Amazing. Great stuff. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm out of here for today. What is this view? Let's move all that out of the way. Boom, boom. All right, folks. I'll be back tomorrow for more American Anchor, baby. White History Month continues the last few days here. That's Country Western Tuesday on the JLP show, The Hake Report, and then me. So thanks for tuning in today. Leave a like, leave a little comment, tell me what you think. Besides that, take care, folks. I must say goodbye. Take care. See you tomorrow. Peace.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.